Chameleons are masters of personal transformation. They can change color to adapt to their surroundings. There are two types of chameleons. The first type wants to change color and wants to adapt to their surroundings because it wants to hide out. I'm just going to stay back here. I'm going to wait this new crazy initiative out. They're eventually going to change their minds and everything will go back to normal and I'll get to do things the way I've always done them. Then there's another type of chameleon. This chameleon likes to take on that new color because it wants to fully participate in the new initiative. I'm ready to sign up for that new project. I'm going to come in early. I'm going to work longer. I love everything that's going on here. This is the greatest place I've ever worked. When you look at those two chameleons, which type of chameleon are you? Which type do you want to be? I'm Nancy Giere, and the main problems that I work on with clients is around change. People look a lot at the process and the tools and the technology, which are all very important, and I address that in my work. But more importantly, I help people identify the personal side of change. How does it make people feel? What do they need to do in order to really embrace it, to really figure out how am I going to move forward in this new space? When I lost my job, it hit me like that. I'd lost my identity. I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know where I felt in. I allowed myself to participate in the best pity party ever. I allowed myself to become a victim. I managed to work through my 2 weeks of severance pay, taking care of the life's essentials, like chocolate, wine, and pasta. But nothing felt right to me. I got my resume together. I went out on job interview after job interview. I sat in one drab corporate conference room after another. People asking me questions. I couldn't even hear what they were saying. It was like, wah, wah, wah. And one day, I finally acknowledged a secret wish that I've had. Have you ever had a secret wish? You know how that feels when you're really longing for something, but you haven't quite gotten it together to tell people? That day, went home, and I told my husband and daughter, I want to start my own business. And I put everything into action after that. I never felt like I was having more fun before at work, because it all made sense to me. It all worked. So it really wasn't that change, that big event that happened, that shocked me. It was the way that I chose to respond. Change has a very personal element that's often overlooked. We can address the technology, we can address new tools, we can address new ways of working. But to really have change take effect, you have to look at what's going on in people's minds. How do they feel about it? Is it threatening? Is it scary? Is it exciting? Is it energizing? You have to take all of those factors into account so you can effectively communicate what is going to happen. How are we going to move forward? What is the best way to approach this? And what steps do we need to take to really get people on board and bring them along for a great ride? But you know what? There's a risk to not doing anything too. There's a risk of staying in one place and not changing anything, because everything around you is going to change too. My original plan when I was 6 was, I'm going to live in a castle, I'm going to be a princess, I'm going to have a herd of unicorns to take me on great adventures. No, I didn't go on the adventures with those unicorns. I went on different adventures throughout my life. And I'm so glad that I did, because I got to experience so many new and wonderful things. Types of programs that I've worked on have included sales enablement. What do we need to do to make sales teams operate more efficiently and effectively? I've worked with operations staff. What do we need to do to improve workflow, to streamline how work will get done so that it can be done in the most efficient and effective way possible? I've worked on doing improved communication skills for all levels of an organization, from the C-suite all the way down to the front line. What do people need to do to more effectively communicate with each other so that they can get their work done in the best way possible?
Nancy was just fun to listen to. I mean, she used excellent stories. She's had a really colorful history, and she's not afraid to share it, but not just for the sake of entertainment. She shared things that were helpful and changed my way of thinking.
Nancy was great. She really opened herself up to the audience in a personal nature to share her experiences, and it made it very personal. She was really fun to watch.
You know, Nancy's program on change really hit home because I think we all can understand how our differences are and how we resist change and how we need to come through it. So I'm going to be practicing these things with my team as soon as I get back.
So what can we do to really adapt so that we can move forward, so that we don't get left behind, that we can maintain our clients, that we can build great relationships? Because so much of it isn't necessarily about what's happened, but it's how are you going to respond? How are you going to bring your people on board? How are you going to move everybody forward? What is going to be the long-term plan? Have you ever felt like you've been asking the wrong question? Let's try this one on. What is it going to take for them to change? Now you can change the word them to whatever you want, but I know that I have made myself crazy asking that question. Then it occurred to me, it's not the right question. The right question is, what is it going to take for me to change?